If you're like me, you grew up thinking Robert De Niro was untouchable. The guy who made you scared to make eye contact with the screen in the movie theater. Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino. That was peak cinema. You didn't just watch him, you believed him. And then something changed. Somewhere between the 2016 election and whatever fresh hell he's on about this week in 2026, Robert De Niro went from, "You talking to me?" to, "You better not be voting for that guy or democracy dies." And a whole lot of us who loved the early work just checked out. I'm going to say this once. This isn't about whether you like Trump or not. This is about why one of the greatest actors of his generation turned himself into a walking, talking, award show swearing political meme. And how it's making people actively avoid his new movies. Let's break it down. Back in the day, De Niro wasn't just an actor. He was a force of nature. Raging Bull, 1980. He gained 60 pounds, learned to box, and won an Oscar for playing a self-destructive monster. You felt every punch, too. Goodfellas, 1990, and Casino, 1995. Martin Scorsese's 1-2 punch of gangster cinema perfection. De Niro as Jimmy Conway in Goodfellas was ice-cold charisma. In Casino, he was the ultimate Vegas personality. These weren't just movies, they were cultural events. Working class guys, film nerds, even people who normally hate artsy stuff quoted these for decades. He was the gold standard for intense, believable tough guys. Method acting before it became a freaking punchline. When he was on screen, you just shut up and watched. Then he started talking off screen. A lot. And not about film. It didn't happen overnight, but it accelerated hard once Trump ran in 2016. De Niro called him totally nuts in Sarajevo that year. And then came the now infamous 2016 video where he said Trump was a punk, a dog, a pig, a con, and a bullshit artist. And, direct quote, "Please don't visit me, Secret Service. I'd like to punch him in the face."
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care.
But the one everyone remembers? The 2018 Tony Awards. De Niro walks out, crowd of theater people loses their minds, and he drops,
I'm gonna say one thing, fuck Trump.
and then doubles down.
It's no longer down with Trump, it's fuck Trump.
All right, he was a little emotional, a little passionate. But fast forward to 2024. He's outside the Manhattan courthouse during the hush money trial, calling Trump a tyrant and a buffoon. He's clashing with supporters, doing Biden campaign pressers. By 2026, he's at No Kings events ranting about existential threats, goons in the administration, and how Trump must be stopped now. Same energy, just louder and more frequent. Trump fires back, calling him a sick and demented person with an extremely low IQ. It's not even new material anymore. It's the same greatest hits rant recycled every couple of years. And that's when a lot of longtime fans just started muting the channel. Here's the thing nobody in the Hollywood bubble wants to admit. A huge chunk of the people who made Robert De Niro a legend weren't coastal elites at the Tony Awards. They were regular, blue-collar folks who loved gritty, masculine, no BS performances. The same demographic that shows up for mob movies, boxing biopics, and Scorsese films, right? When your favorite on-screen badass starts sounding like every other celebrity at every other awards show, preachy, repetitive, and weirdly obsessed, it breaks the spell. You can't unhear it. There's no way to flush it from your brain. Suddenly, Jimmy Conway isn't just a smooth operator anymore. He's the guy who might corner you at a party and spend 20 minutes explaining why your politics are destroying America. That's not intimidating. That's exhausting. And it's not subtle. It's consistent. Interviews, red carpets, random press conferences, late night shows. At this point, it feels like less principled activism and more like performance art for a very specific audience that already agrees with him. And here's where it gets really funny / sad. Even when De Niro tries to go back to what made him great, mob stuff, audiences are tapped out. 2025's The Alto Knights, a Warner Brothers gangster movie with De Niro playing dual roles, that should have been catnip for old De Niro fans. Instead, it opened to a pathetic $3.2 million domestically, made about $9 million worldwide against 50, and lost the studio an estimated $30 to $35 million. Critics called it a tired retread. Other recent ones, like About My Father in 2023 and Ezra, also underperformed. Even prestige stuff like Killers of the Flower Moon lost serious money. Coincidence? Maybe. But when your off-screen persona is angry political rancher who hates half the country, a lot of people just don't feel like buying a ticket to watch you pretend to be a tough guy again. The magic has been tainted. You can't separate the art from the artist when the artist won't shut up about the same topic for a decade straight. And let's be real, De Niro isn't even original here. Hollywood's been doing this famous person discovers politics bit for generations. Alec Baldwin turned Trump impressions into a second career and still won't stop. Sean Penn's been on more political adventures than most diplomats. Jane Fonda made a whole second act out of activism. These days it feels like every A-lister has the same publicist memo. Win the Oscar, then use every interview to lecture the audience like they're children.
We are united in that we are all human beings and we are all together on this horrible, painful, joyous, exciting, and mysterious ride that is being alive.
It's tired, it's preachy, and it's especially grating when it comes from people who live in gated mansions, fly private, and only interact with regular Americans when they're playing them on screen. We came to the movies to escape the noise, not get another sermon from the echo chamber that already thinks it knows what's best for everyone. At this point, it's not brave. It's background noise. It's white noise with better lighting. The real tragedy here? His early work is still absolutely phenomenal. These movies aren't going anywhere. You can still pop in Goodfellas, Raging Bull, Casino, and get lost. The performances still hold up. But the man, he's turned himself into a caricature. The guy who once made audiences nervous with a stare now makes half of them roll their eyes or change the channel the second he opens up his mouth about politics. But to be honest, that's the cost of turning your entire public identity into one long anti-Trump monologue. You don't just alienate people who disagree with you. You annoy the ones who used to admire you for something completely different that had nothing to do with that. Again, he's not the first actor to do this. He won't be the last. But when it happens to someone who is genuinely one of the best, it stings a little extra. Look, the movies are still there. Go rewatch the good ones, quote the lines, appreciate the craft. But the current version of Robert De Niro, the one who can't go more than 5 minutes without another unhinged Trump rant, that guy killed the mystique. He took one of the most intimidating screen presences in history and turned it into that one uncle who won't stop talking about politics at Thanksgiving. I liked it better when he was breaking legs, not breaking news. But what do you think? Did Robert De Niro ruin his own legacy with the politics, or am I being a little too harsh? Drop it in the comments. Hit like if you miss the old De Niro. Subscribe for more unfiltered Hollywood breakdowns. We're just getting started now. Now go watch Goodfellas and pretend it's still 1990. I'll see you later!